So I almost thought about going to this game tonight in Sacramento. Some of you guys know I live in the Bay Area, and generally I go see the Bulls play the Warriors every time they're in town. But then I thought, well, you know what? It's going to be a lot cheaper to go see them play the Kings because no one is paying a lot of money to go see the Kings play. And hell, maybe this will actually be a game the Bulls can win. After all, the Kings are the worst team in the league with only 14 wins going into tonight. But thank God, due to some scheduling conflicts with my kids, I realized I'm just not going to be able to make it work. But thank God I didn't drive all that way to Sacramento to see this team lose to the worst team in the NBA. A game where they were behind for most of it too. Got outworked on the glass, gave up way too many second chance points, got beat down in the paint. The Kings had 68 points in the paint. You compare that to the Bulls' 36. For the Bulls, it was all outside shooting in this game. They relied way too much on their three-point shot. Don't get me wrong, they shot it from deep at a decent clip, 38%, going 17 for 45. But what led to their success in the game against Phoenix was the fact that they took the ball inside, punished the Suns in the paint, got to the free throw line, and they pulled off a crazy upset. I mean, I guess from a tanking perspective, this is a makeup loss, right? Everyone thought the Bulls would lose to the Suns and then likely beat the Kings. So net evens out from a tanking perspective. But again, even in losses that we expect to happen because the Bulls have put themselves in this position, but even in these losses, you at least want to see some things that inspire confidence, some things you see trending in the right direction for the future. And I have to say, what hasn't sat well with me in watching this game was how much better this team played without Modest and Giddey in the game against Phoenix compared to seeing them back in the lineup against the worst team in the league. What's crazy is that both Modest and Giddey actually had decent games, which I'll get to. And yes, I know it's just one game. I recognize that that was just a really bad game for the Suns, who didn't take the Bulls seriously and played down to their competition. And yeah, I know none of this likely matters in the long run anyway, because Modest and Giddey are part of the long-term plans, while the rest of the guys on this roster likely aren't. And as long as they put the right pieces in place that complement these two going forward, then this is really just a non-issue. But yeah, just something that didn't leave me walking away from this game where I was like, well, whatever, they lost, but you had these monster performances from Modest and Josh Giddey. What's funny is Modest ended up putting up 20 points, 8 boards, 4 assists. He got to the free throw line 9 times, which is the most in his career, but he also struggled with his finishing around the basket, smoking a couple layups, getting rejected by a guy smaller than him. He ended up shooting 5 for 12 and 2 for 6 from 3, but not the most efficient offensive night for Modest Bucelis. And then Josh Giddey, similar thing, put up a triple-double, scoring 15 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, but sloppy turnovers at times. And then, of course, the defense. Like, I know Giddey's never going to be a good defender, but at least I appreciate it when he tries. Tonight, he was missing backdoor cuts, not even trying to contest shots at the rim. Again, I'm not saying it was a bad game for either of these guys, because overall, they were the best players for the Bulls on the court tonight. But there just wasn't anything really to take away from this loss that you can really be excited about, even in a tanking effort. Now, Colin Sexton, man, he was trying to will the Bulls to win this game. And I remember thinking, man, if the Bulls, they really want to lose this one, they better sit this guy out because he's going off yet again and getting the guys amped up. And then sure enough, they announced that he suffered an injury, wouldn't be returning. Now, do I think the Bulls faked this injury? No, because Sexton, he wants to play, especially given he's an unrestricted free agent. But that kind of all but secured the loss because Sexton was going off, 28 points, was 7 for 9 from 3, 9 for 12 overall. But yeah, I mean, not something I can really be happy about as a takeaway from this loss when I don't think Sexton is likely going to be on this team next season. Now, Patrick Williams and Jalen Smith, they returned to the lineup after being out a few games, but they both were a bit rusty. Neither one of them could get their three-point shot going, and their defensive lateral quickness wasn't there. I mean, the Bulls' defense overall was especially bad in this game, which is ironic as it came off what I thought was one of their best defensive performances since the deadline against the Suns. But tonight, the Bulls kept falling asleep, not staying with their man on cuts to the basket, not closing out in shooters, getting beat off the dribble multiple times. I mean, they only forced 4 turnovers to the Kings in this game. The Kings, they only have 4 turnovers, the worst team in the league. You just got to be better than that if you expect to win games. And then, man, Rob Dillingham, yeah, it's not looking good. I just don't see that this guy has a future in the NBA. He's a little too chaotic in his offense. Great speed, good handles, but doesn't know how to execute, makes dangerous passes, and then on the other end of the floor, he's just too small to play impactful defense. I do worry that this might have been a dud by the Bulls, and they're just kind of taking the 4 second-round picks for Ayo at this point. He's still under contract for the next 2 years, so the Bulls will have a lot of time to evaluate him, but in the early going, Even when he's been given the opportunity in a low-stakes environment, when the team isn't even trying to win, he still doesn't look great. Also, observation on the Kings side, and I hate to say it because I loved him when he was on the Bulls, and still think he's a great player. But is it just me, or do the Kings look exceptionally better without DeMar DeRozan? And if I'm being honest, it's for the same reasons the Bulls struggled with him when he was on the roster: slow pace of play, heavy isolation ball, except now it's probably even worse for the Kings because DeMar is a bit older and has slowed down even more with his ability to get out ahead in transition, and his defense has gotten even worse. Not that I'm watching a ton of Kings games by any means, but I try and watch other teams outside of the Bulls when I can, just for my NBA channel to stay informed on what's going on around the league. And yeah, I mean, watching the Kings play today, they clearly were playing much more freely, much faster. The ball was flying around more than what we're typically used to seeing. Not saying it's all on DeMar, because he's a true pro and has tried to adapt his game as much as he can and defer to others when he needs to, but just an observation in watching the Kings play tonight and how different they look without DeMar DeRozan. Anyway, now I need to decide if I should go to this Bulls game against the Warriors on Tuesday. I don't know. Is it worth spending the money to go see this team play when we know these games don't really mean much of anything to the Bulls and they're actually trying to lose at that? Might be one of my last chances to see Steph, though. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I go? Let me know in the comments, guys. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.